Hi guys, it's Ksenia. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 10 perfumes that I have loved for 10 years, like consistently. These perfumes are so nostalgic for me. Some of these I've loved for even more than 10 years. Some of these were my middle school fragrances, my high school fragrances. They're fragrances that my friends and family kind of know me by. These perfumes smell like me, if that makes sense. I love perfumes, as you guys know, but I would say since I started this channel is when I really started getting into perfumes. I always loved fragrance, but my collection was never crazy like how it is now. And I mean, that definitely has to do with the fact that this is my job now. So reviewing fragrances is what I do every single day. So that tends to accumulate by me purchasing stuff to review or brands sending me stuff. So I'm constantly being introduced to new scents. And of course, there's so many perfumes that I love now. But I have to kind of put the spotlight on these perfumes because out of all my fragrances, these have been consistent loves for over 10 years. Some of these just barely hit the 10-year mark. But yeah, this will really tell you guys what I love, the kind of fragrances that I have loved for a very long time. I think a lot of these are probably nostalgic for you guys as well. With that said, let me show you guys the top 10 perfumes that I have worn for a decade of my life. Please make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and turn your post notifications on, and let's get started. Fragrance number 1 that is so nostalgic for me, this is Burberry London. Every time I smell it, it just makes me think of simple happy times. This is actually kind of a very mature scent for a little, I don't know how old I was when I started wearing this, probably like 13 or 14. I'm 25 now, just to kind of put it into perspective. Very long time. And this perfume was introduced to me by, I think my mom had this, or my cousins. It also reminds me of Greece. I'm gonna say that a lot throughout this video because I think a lot of my inspiration from perfumes came from Greece. People smell really good in Greece, okay? And they love perfumes over there, but there was like some specific perfumes that they loved to use in Greece, and this was one of them. Burberry London just smells like a very intense rose scent. It's definitely dominated by a lot of rose, but something in here just smells so feminine and it's really sexy. I love this scent and it's such a compliment getter. Speaking of perfumes that remind me of Greece that I basically have started wearing since then, Alien. I have loved Alien for years and years and years. My cousins used to use this. This perfume though, I have to give a little bit of a disclaimer, I guess. I've always loved this scent, but there was, I would say, a year where I actually didn't love it and I didn't have it in my collection, and that was when I used to work at Ulta. I worked at Ulta for like a year and a half. I don't remember exactly, it was a while ago, but in that time that I worked there, I actually didn't love Alien, but not because I like smelled it and I was like, oh, I don't like it, but because I was almost influenced by the people around me, because a lot of the people that I worked with hated this scent because we sold it at Ulta and they would always talk about how bad this perfume smelled, and that almost kind of made me not like it because I would go and smell it and I'm like, yeah, maybe it is too strong, but I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, you love this scent. And after leaving that job, I don't think I wore it for like months after that either, but then I kind of rediscovered it and I just fell right back in love with it. So nostalgic. It's a jasmine bomb, but it's also just so much more than that. It's so sexy, so freaking sexy. My husband loves this on me, and yeah, it's a powerful one though, so definitely not for everybody, but I think that's kind of a common thing with most Mugler fragrances, which, speaking of, another one that is so nostalgic that I started using and kind of getting to know around the same time as Alien is Angel, which I don't have the actual perfume of Angel because I've just never really needed it, especially after I bought this. You're probably looking at it like, what in the world is that? This is the most gorgeous and luxurious bottle ever for a lotion, but this is literally what my cousins used to have back in the day. Like, again, I'm talking over 10 years ago. I remember they used to have this in their clothing wardrobe, and then they had a bunch of perfumes at the bottom, and we used to always go in there and just smell all of their perfumes and put them all over us. And we would always start with this lotion and then just spray a bunch of stuff on top of it, which is crazy because this lotion is so strong. Oh, this scent is so nostalgic to me. It just takes me back to just really fun memories. I love Angel. I've loved it for so long. This is another one not for everybody. Angel is even more polarizing than Alien is, but I think it's incredible. It's so unique. I mean, there's literally no perfume like it in the market still to this day. It's been out for so long and still to this day it's just not even like recreated by anybody. I feel like if you love it, you love it, and if you don't, then that's your loss. Okay, next I have Max Turquatic. I have a little one here. I just went through another one, and then I have a backup that's in a bigger size, but I'm currently working on this one right now. Max Turquatic, I actually started wearing this, I think my freshman year of high school. When was that? Like, I don't know, what was I, 14? I think 14. Again, I'm 25 now, so it's been a while. Again, it just takes me back. I'm gonna say that about like every single one of these because yeah, I've loved these for over 10 years, and the reason why I love them to this day is because they are so nostalgic. They just take me back to another time in my life, which is another reason why I love fragrance so much. Max Turquatic is basically an aromatic, super clean, very citrusy, but not in a cleaning product type of way. It's balanced really nicely by a ton of woodsy kind of notes, and it's gorgeous. It is a fragrance for women. It's by MAC, but it's very unisex vibes, I feel like. Not in a way where it smells like a cologne or anything like that. Like literally anybody can use this because it's just a perfect citrus, aromatic, clean, woodsy type of scent. Another one that, although when you describe like, oh, citrus and woodsy, like obviously there's a ton of scents in that scent profile, but there's nothing quite like Max Turquatic, so I highly recommend that to anybody. And then I have Taylor Swift Wonderstruck. This is also an OG. I think this, I was probably gifted my first Wonderstruck in middle school, and I remember it so vividly because I used to watch Mac Barbie 07. Like, I was obsessed, and I think that's where my love of YouTube and like beauty and makeup came from. But I think she hauled it, or maybe she got it for Christmas one year, I don't know. And so I asked for it for Christmas, and I remember getting it, and I think I was in middle school at this time, so I don't know, was I like 13, 12? I don't know. But I've had this for so, well, not this exact one. I actually refound this in a CVS, which I got really lucky because now, because this has been discontinued for so long, there's people that are reselling this on places like Mercari and stuff for hundreds, like literal hundreds. Like, you could probably find this for like 400 on like eBay. I'm not even joking, which is insane. Like, I love this scent, but not to that extent. Like, I'm not paying $400 for it. It's just really nostalgic. I don't think this is one that I would necessarily love to wear now. I mean, I do wear it from time to time, but it's not like I'm like obsessing over wearing it. It's just one of those where I want to smell like it when I'm feeling really nostalgic, because you can never wear this and not think about, I don't know, like middle school. That's just all it reminds me of. Wonderstruck kind of has that typical early 2000s celebrity perfume DNA in it. All the Justin Bieber scents, the Nicki Minaj scents, Britney Spears. It's like those kind of fragrances all wrapped up into one, but something specifically about Wonderstruck, it just has this almost like berry sweet vibe. It's so feminine, it's so pretty. It smells like a literal fairy. Speaking of fairy, another Greece perfume. I discovered this also because of my cousins. This is Lolita Lempicka. We didn't actually have this scent, but I remember I was visiting my cousins in Greece, and we went to like a supermarket or something, and we found a dupe, which I had no idea that that was a dupe of this fragrance at the time. I just really loved it, and the dupe was this fragrance. I'm gonna put it up on here. Maybe some of you guys will know of this. I don't know if it was ever sold in the US, but it was called Mini Sexy or something like that. I remember the cap being purple, and I was obsessed with that scent, and that smelled exactly like this perfume because for so long I wanted to find that exact perfume, not knowing that it was a dupe for Lolita Lempicka. And I was at a Kohl's once, I smelled it, and immediately I was like, that is that Mini Sexy fragrance, like I have to get that. And then I found out that that was supposed to be a dupe of this, so I now have the original. Lolita Lempicka is just so whimsical and so fun. Again, very feminine, very sexy, flirty. It's very licoricey, cherry kind of vibe, super sweet, really fun. I love it. I'll wear that to this day happily, and it's just so delicious. Next, a lot of juicy scents I have loved for years, like Viva La Juicy, which I don't have in my collection right now because I have something very similar to it, which I'm going to show next, which is also in this video. But this is one that I have loved probably even more than the very famous Viva La Juicy, which is the OG Juicy Couture. Like, this is literally just Juicy Couture EDP. This is one I remember I got on Black Friday, and I got this probably also like my freshman year of high school, and I literally remember the moment of getting this. Like, I was so excited. I had gone out Black Friday shopping and it was literally past midnight or something, and I was begging my parents, like, please get me this. I've seen so much about it. Again, probably influenced by Mac Barbie or one of those OG YouTubers, and I was obsessed with it. I wore it all throughout high school. Again, yeah, very nostalgic for me, but definitely something I would use even to this day. And it reminds me a lot actually of Burberry London, which is why I loved it so much even back then. But yeah, OG juicy, so good. Obviously we got to talk about Pink Sugar. This perfume was actually influenced by Ariana Grande. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this very famous like OG Ariana Grande video. It was when she kind of first was up and coming, and she did this what's in my bag video, and those were like really popping at the time, and she pulled out Pink Sugar, and I think that's when Pink Sugar really blossomed, because after that point people were loving on Pink Sugar, and that's kind of around the time that I discovered mine as well. I bought it and I was obsessed. I love sugary sweet type of scents, so that's literally all this is. This is like burnt sugar, pure cotton candy. It has some other notes in it, but it's literally cotton candy. Like, if you want to smell like walking cotton candy, it's Pink Sugar. To this day, this scent gets so many compliments. I don't know what it is. Like, it's pretty basic, as we all know. It's just cotton candy, but she's a compliment magnet for sure. Then I have Tease. Now, Tease actually came out in 2017, so technically this I haven't loved for like a full decade, but it's like almost-ish a decade. I actually thought this was a lot older than 2017, but I looked up the release date and I'm like, okay, maybe not, but I have loved it since the moment that it came out, so it's like close to a decade. So I still wanted to include this because it is one of like my OG perfumes, and not only that, but to this day, if anybody in my family or even my husband smells this perfume, they say it smells like me. If you guys want to know what I smell like, it's Tease by Victoria's Secret, which I know is like kind of basic because a lot of people were using this, and this is pretty much the DNA of Viva La Juicy. It's very, very similar. This is so feminine and pretty. It's sweet, it's not too sweet, it's flirty, it's sexy. I've gotten so many compliments on this scent and I wear it to this day. I love it. I am like halfway done with this one, and I do have a backup because I love it that much. Without a doubt, every single time I wear this, my husband cannot keep his hands off of me, because when we first met like 7 years ago, I wore this. Like, this is all I wore, and ever since we met 7 years ago, it's not like I wear it all the time, but when I do, he catches it right away. Like, he's like, oh, you smell so nostalgic, like you smell like when we first met. He just knows it now by heart. Speaking of like ultimate nostalgia, we gotta talk about Britney Spears Fantasy. This one I have used since middle school. I have such a vivid memory of Fantasy. I used to wear this in middle school, and I remember literally mornings getting ready, I would straighten my hair. I think I've said this on here before, but like every time I smell this, that's what it reminded me of. I used to straighten my hair and literally burn it off. I used to straighten it every day, and I had these like weird side swept bangs. I don't even know. And I used to straighten those too. It was a whole mess. I would put in like this Garnier oil I had, and then after that, I would just literally drown myself in this perfume. When I say drown myself, I'm not even joking. Like, it was head to toe. Like, it was strong. I remember getting on the school bus, I used to leave a trail of Britney Spears Fantasy. Like, you could smell me from a continent away. I was a little overdoing it, but since then, I mean, it's not like I use it all the time, because it's one of those scents where it's just so specific and so nostalgic. I can never wear this without thinking of that time, which is the case with a lot of these perfumes. And I actually even decluttered it at one point because I'm like, I'm not really gonna wear that, like it's just too nostalgic. But I actually rebought it recently, like just a few months ago, and I love it. Like, I wear it now all the time, but I do layer it just to kind of give it a little bit more of a different vibe, and I love it. I think it smells great. Last but not least, another OG. This is kind of in the same realm as Tease for me, where these were kind of my signature scents for years. Like, these two are all I ever wore. Ari by Ariana Grande. I love Ari. This is like, I would say, a little bit more of a grown-up version to Pink Sugar. This is very fitting for Ariana Grande, considering she used to love Pink Sugar, because it's like Pink Sugar but a little bit more complex, I would say. It's still very girly, juvenile-ish kind of sense, but it's not as juvenile as Pink Sugar, which is literally just cotton candy and nothing else. This one has some berry tones in it, and It has a little bit more going on, but still a fluffy marshmallow cotton candy vibe nonetheless. And as you can tell, this is my vibe. Just like pink girly smells. But then it's also kind of weird because I go from loving scents like these, like pure cotton candy sugary, to then loving scents like these, which are dark and sexy and just so much going on. So sometimes my fragrance taste doesn't really make sense. Listen guys, we don't all just love one thing. Just because you like sweet scents doesn't mean you can't like fresh scents or woody scents or whatever. I like a wide array of scents, especially after all these years of doing this job and reviewing fragrances. I've come to love so many different scent profiles. I definitely started with just the basic sweet scents, which I still love. Those are my OGs. I will always love sweet scents, but I definitely also love so many other kind of scents too. So yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a really fun video for me to make because I've never really done this, and I thought it would be just a really cool kind of nostalgic video, and I'm sure you guys have a ton of these scents. So let me know in the comments, which fragrance have you worn for years, like more than a decade, and that people kind of like associate you with, because I just think this is such a fun topic. So yeah, let me know your OG loves in the comments down below. But that is it for me today. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and turn your post notifications on, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.